Yo, yo, yo. What up,
Yo,
my
yo, yo.
mustard asses?
Already, no ketchup, just mustard asses.
That's
Smelly
right.
motherfuckers and all that.
That's
What's
right.
happening, peoples? What's happening, peoples?
Well, welcome to another episode of the greatest show ever.
Always,
As
always.
always, we're coming to you as part of the Who They Want Network.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my version of horns going off. Like,
Uh,
or you be like, like, be like, tech, throw some horns, you know what I'm saying? Be like, boo, 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 boo. So that's what I'm giving you, you know what I mean? We'll add that. We'll add that to the street, right?
And as always, the man who has our back, the one, the only DJ Steady, tech
DJ Steady.
support. Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
So
There
if you
you
want
go,
to show
baby.
some support, you can check him out on the Who They Want podcast Wednesday evenings. And then the Who They Want has a little something for everybody. Just check out Pillow Talk Mistress for some great couples bedtime stories. You know what I mean? And then Hip Hop Corner on Tuesdays, and of course the B&W show every other Saturday.
Always, baby, always. We just been off schedule. Yeah, we back. We back. Let's just go ahead and
Yeah,
say it like that. We gonna keep
we're
rolling.
here.
That's how we do it. We here now. We here now. You know what I'm saying? So as we always say, everybody say good morning. It ain't morning. It ain't really afternoon. So we just gonna be like, yo, peace. And how you doing? You know what
Beautiful
I'm
day,
saying?
man. Beautiful day. You know, when you've been at work all day and it's just been one of those shit show days, and you finally get home, and it seems like your wife or your husband also is in one of those moods,
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
you're just not quite ready for it. Feel it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be something stupid like what's for dinner, or their best friend is having marital problems, so you got to have marital problems, or something else inconsequential. But then, much to your surprise, everything is great. No fight. It's a beautiful dinner. Some great loving. That's how I feel all the time.
It was something like deceiving weather. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I think it's gonna rain, but yo,
Yeah,
ain't no rain. It's
exactly.
real nice. You know what I mean?
Made, made for a nice, suspenseful mood, man.
A nice guy type style afternoon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So,
Exactly.
so how you doing, Val? How you doing? How you feeling?
Man. It's been a lot of transitions, man. I feel, you know how you you know how can I put this in the kindest way? You know how when you might have to get a DUI and they say you got to do 48 hours or 72 hours, if some know, some don't know. But when you get there,
Yeah,
you don't exactly be able to relax. Your booty cheeks clench up and you hold in and you get tight. You know what I'm saying? You get pressure, get tight. You got a lot of things you worry about. You look around, you be like, I'm good. I can hold it 2 days, 2.5 days. So you get tight, So that's what the week been, man. It's been tight. So now the weekend here, just like when you get out off of that, you like get to relax. You see what I'm
you get to have
saying?
some relief, huh?
You get
Some
to
relief.
have some relief. We talking about better than Pepto Bismol relief. You know what I'm saying? So
Amen.
yeah,
Amen.
man. So all that, man, that transition of just a tough week and it was just tight. And then once you just shit it out the weekend here, you just like, man, all right, I got through it, man. That's
Yeah,
how it's been because it's been a lot of transition, a lot of things we doing in the background, things to be said, when things come out live, but we just making things happen. So,
right.
it's just, oh, you know what I mean? So yeah, pretty soon we just gonna become shitting on these fools.
Exactly.
So yeah, man.
Exactly.
So that's how I'm feeling, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm
Yeah,
doing. That's how I'm
beautiful.
doing.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
always. It ain't worth
So
it.
with
It ain't
that,
worth
so
it.
this episode that we're talking about for those out there, so this is our
Yes,
second part of our
yes,
financial discussions.
yes.
Hopefully, you got a little bit out of what we talked about with Cam's last episode with credit.
Yeah,
So this episode, we are talking more directly in regards to banking.
correct,
What does it all mean? What is it all about?
correct. As you know, four parts. My good man, Scooney here, that's coming on to the scene here.
So we got a little bit of withdrawal. So we got a little froze from Val there. I don't know where he's going. Uh, Anyways, so we are talking about banking. We do have Scooney on in the background. He is our banking guy. Scooney, are you able to come to the forefront?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
I'm doing well. I'm not sure how Val's doing, but we're doing all right over here.
Right. Please pardon the technical difficulties. Our generous host will be back with us momentarily.
That's right. He's got to reconnect his internet. That's all.
Cool.
So in the meantime, so Scooney, tell us why are you our banking expert?
Yeah, that's a good question. I won't consider myself an expert. I have 10, 15 years in banking experience with checking, savings, interest accounts, things like that. At one point, I was licensed for a small bit of time to do securities. So, I have some overall experience. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I definitely have a lot of experience in different areas.
So you got that working knowledge. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I'm using
No,
my government name today too, by the way, as you can see. So that way I sound a little more professional.
right, I saw that.
Right. We came prepared, ladies and gentlemen, for this show.
That's right. That's right. Who's gonna respect a banker named Scooty?
That's right.
So yeah, um, that's about the main gist of it. I think I have an overall experience. Hopefully, I answered the question.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. So tell us in general, like what is banking? Why, if anything, if any reason, do we need banks?
Well, I mean, I think to answer the question, it's probably a two-way sort of question because I think you have your own personal experience and then you have just general questions. So I think banking in itself is really a vehicle to where you can store your money, right? It's just giving you a place to store your liquidity, or as they call it, your cash. Now, do you actually need a bank is something that I think it comes in when you dive into the realm of how you want to use your money. And that may be another conversation for someone else when we talk about investments and understanding interest rates and things like that. But overall, using a bank is really just a vehicle to house your money. And so it's really about whether you want to house your money. Because I know plenty of clients when I was a personal banker that necessarily they only had a bank account just because they had to, and most of their money, they kept with it at the, as we used to say, mattress money.
Right, right. That's what I was gonna say. So like piggy banks are still a viable option then.
So, let's not diving too deep, but if we talk about the value of the US dollar right now, right? And how banks are also going out of business, and so to speak. So we're talking about um, really the credibility of the dollar. And so I think banks are still viable, but I think there's also other vehicles that you can and should be using to store your money to make sure that way you can save it, right? FDIC is
Yeah,
important too as well.
sure. Well, then that brings up another good house. Why are there so many banks failing right now?
Well,
Especially the bigger name banks. It's not just like mom and pop banks. It's like some big name banks, right?
well, I mean, I think there's a personal reason why I feel, and then there's also a business reason. So I mean, I think Wall Street is going to tell you because of subprime loans, because of subprime lending, because rates are going so high that they can't keep these things and those sort of things, right? But banks also get they basically get bailouts, right? And so if something
Right,
happens and something goes wrong, mom is going to come over, clean the house, wash the dishes, do the things that are needed to be done, right? Well, if you lost money in your mom and pop shop, guess what happens? You go bankrupt, you go out of business, right? So I
right,
think overall, to the overall scheme of banks or grand scheme, there's some things that people probably just don't know, but that's why banks can and do fail in a sort of sense, right? Because they understand that there's a bailout.
So, hello, people. I'm back. Yes.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
appreciate that.
show.
We on plan B. We gonna have always have a backup plan. We on plan B.
Of
Yeah,
course.
You know
well,
what I'm
welcome to
saying?
the Aaron
So,
and Ebenezer show,
so
sir.
yeah, true indeed, true indeed. But yeah, it's funny what you say about the banks, and you said about the with the discomfort of the industry, especially correlating to San Francisco, with the banks and crypto and technology and the digital currency and how one's regulated, one's not regulated.
Hmm.
Um, there's faith in one versus faith without one, but yet they're still trying to tie these two together. And as you see in the first time, it obviously didn't work. It's failed. So it puts a belief of not a belief or faith within a financial institution, um, with what's happening. So is there a way to still have belief in your bank? Should we still have belief in your bank? I know you said there's more various ways to go about it, but as we teach our kids and say, hey, you want to, learn how to save first savings account, this is what you do. We take them to a bank, and give them these traditional ways of how to make money. Old money was made like old ways versus new money trying to be made in new ways. You know what I'm saying? So, how much should we still continue to weigh in on our faith in the bank and the FDIC, knowing there should be that type of protection over our finances and our savings.
So I mean, and again, those are great questions, right? So when
Right.
we're talking about having that faith, one, banking relationship is important. It is.
Right.
It's super important, whether you're big or you're small. The first
Mm-hmm.
thing I would say is, if, like I tell my child, like we do, if you are
Mm-hmm.
going to do banks, think of mom and pop shops, right? You could
Right.
do bigger banks, right? But and these are my own personal experiences. I'm not necessarily saying, hey, go from Bank of America or Chase or whatever. If you have a great relationship with them, your bank rating with them is more than likely good, right? So that means they have, and what I mean by that is most banks having what they call an internal score. If you've ever overdrafted your account, if you've ever went fraudulent, not fraudulent, excuse me, if you ever went late on payments, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, even if you've had fraud and had your card changed, right? The bank has all these things on record. So
Mm-hmm.
then from there, they're going to understand if you, when you come to them, oh, I want to get a loan or I'd like to buy a car or anything, they're going to look in their personal files. They don't have to look outside of any other bank. They're going to look in their personal files first internally. And then, of course, when they go to pull your credit, then they're going to look outside for those outside scores. So there's a lot of things that can be trusted within a bank, whether they're big or small. I would say I prefer to use smaller banks like credit unions. They tend to go more with relationships and they understand the personal old school type of feel. If you're talking about just putting your money in a bank account, checking or savings or CDs or something of that nature, because they have a smaller feel and they have a better internal banking score.
So, you touched on something. So I have two questions. One now, one later, as far as that correlates to the history of banks themselves and what they do, for our community, in various places. But are all banks protected the same way? Um, because if banks are all correlated to the FDIC, we would think that the notion is, hey, your banks are all protected, everything's protected the same way. Are they protected the same way?
No, all banks are not protected the same way. That's a great question because,
Hmm.
again, like I mentioned earlier, some banks, the larger banks, are
Hmm.
able to have bailouts, right? They're
Right.
able to come together, get mergers, and have bailouts. Um, Credit unions and or other banking establishments, let's say, for instance, in the area I stay in, there's black-owned banks, right?
Mm.
And in those black-owned banks, just like in any other smaller establishments, your regulations are different, based on the money you house, the type of money you house, how much money you can house, those sort of things. So just
Right.
not to get too deep, but yes, all banks are not regulated and governed the same.
Okay. So, redlining was something that we know about. For those that don't know what redlining is if you live in a particular zone or code, those area codes, it will be near dear impossible for you to get a loan for, a home. Mostly that will happen in the projects, the
Right,
lower end
right.
community of the
Correct.
redlining.
Lower income
Do
communities.
do banks practice, you think, a modern standard of that in some way? When we
So
see when we see certain things like gentrification going on in certain communities, when we see how certain school zones are getting certain money, or districts are, because of the, I guess, the financial, uh, the financial status of that community in that actual area. Is there a certain practice of that still, do you think?
I mean, I think overall, if we look at just how the whole blanket scheme of banking is set up,
Hmm.
would you say that it would be easier for a person who lives and works in Scottsdale to get a home if they just wanted to get a home if they banked and live in Scottsdale, as opposed to say someone who lived on 7th Ave and Indian School and they had a similar job?
Hmm.
Just yes or no.
Would it be easier?
Do you think?
uh Easier in Scottsdale or in Phoenix?
For the
Phoenix,
person who,
I would
if I
think.
gave you the, if I gave you those, let's say if I said, hey, you're talking to a person who lives in Scottsdale, they work in Scottsdale, you don't know who they are, you don't know what they look like, but I'm just telling you those are their specifications. Reason why
uh
I say that. Go ahead.
mm, I would think that'd probably be easier, or to get an establishment in maybe the Phoenix area somewhere, then possibly the Scottsdale area. Uh, it's just more than what you see on paper once they actually go ahead and start talking to the buyer, and those invisible tangibles become tangible when they see you eye to eye. Paper's great, but then when you get to step two, I think that's where some of the barriers start coming up. That's invisible. That it comes to that feeling of comfortability, whether we want to acknowledge it or not.
Well, overall, it's the elephant in the room, right?
Right.
It's the thing that we don't and do want to talk about, but we don't really speak about. I think
Right.
the reason why I gave you that sort of analogy is because sometimes, just like in a resume, right, some people ring louder by what you read and what you see, but everything is not always clear, right, just by what we're
Correct.
looking at.
Right.
And so can I say that overall, do banks do that? It depends. I don't want to cast a blanket over all of them, but if
Right.
we look at the system and years of how it has been done and how we
Mm-hmm.
know that
Mm-hmm.
if a person who's paying $1,600 for rent in a 2-3 bedroom apartment, they should, and if they've been able to do that for consistently years to keep themselves afloat, they should be able to own a home, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But they can't
All
Right.
right.
because of
Well,
certain things and certain things that are put into place that I believe between rates, between there's other history things that are involved with credit. But ultimately, yes, the system can somewhat be slighted for a person who is kind of teetering in the middle where they've had some good years, maybe had some bad years, right? That person is not looked upon well in the banking system. So I think, I can't say that it's skewed in a way, but I would say that it's definitely not too favorable for everyone.
all right, all right.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
so what about this situation, right? So, you saw the series. I don't know if you have this in the series, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? So there was a situation where um, Sam Wilson, who was the Falcon, his sister was trying to get a loan to start a business, right? And so he came in, everybody knowing he's now the new Captain America. He's the Falcon and the new Captain America. He comes into this bank, right? And the banking manager says, well, your sister still doesn't have the credit needed nor the collateral that establishes us putting money towards this type of business. Even with you being Captain America, that doesn't change the scenario, or does it? And if you were in that bank manager situation, what would you do if the new Captain America comes walking into your bank to speak up for his sister? How would you handle that? Same
Um,
situation. Her credit and her collateral does not align with what the kind of money she's asking for.
so I think, again, that's a great question. If we're talking about a smaller establishment, then they're going to base it on relationship, right? Because here's what's going to happen. Yes, she may not have the credit or the collateral, which means she doesn't have the money in the bank, and or she doesn't have a collateral like a vehicle owned, a house, home owned, or some sort of assets that she can say she owns, right? Or even an investment vehicle is still a property to a certain extent. So, with that being said, then they say, well, okay, how can we find someone who will be willing to share that risk, right? That's what a co-signer is.
Right.
If I don't have that, I can bring in is that Dar guy or that guy? But I can bring in Lavelle, right? And I can bring him
That
in and
guy,
yes,
dar
well,
guy.
change that face.
That
But I can
Right.
bring in Lavelle and I can
Dar.
say,
Fucking
hey,
spell check.
no, I got him on that. But I can say, hey, he has the availability to the collateral, to the if I waiver or if I fail, right? And
Mm.
so then the bank can hold both of us responsible based on our relationship and say, okay, if you have $60 coming in, whatever it is, I know these are low numbers, but if you have $60 and you owe 80, then Lavelle is willing to say on paper contractually that he will make up the difference to have that paid to make sure that is. So I
Right.
think in some cases, based on your scenario, yes, some people will accept, some smaller banks will accept Captain America as the co-signer because that would maybe need to be done to get the deal done. Otherwise, you go to Bank of America, you go to larger banks. I don't want to just name any names, but you go to larger banks, they're going to look at that situation and say, "Oh no, absolutely not. She doesn't have enough credit and collateral."
All right. So it's still a situation by situation basis.
It is to a certain extent. So there is a box, right, that we can learn to kind of put ourselves in to better ourselves, like getting a car loan, right? When you know you want to get a pre-approval, there's things we can do to better ourselves to make sure that when we want to go get those loans or those things that we're in a good favorable situation.
Hmm. Hmm. So, do you think that the lending process is fair to everybody then because of financial status? Do you think it's still fair, even though they say, "Oh, these practices are all supposed to be equal"? Do you think it's still fair?
So there's a regulation in banking. It's called Reg Z, Fair and Equal Lending Practices, right? And so you'll
Hmm.
see all of these big regulations all over the place on documents that you don't have no idea what it is, but they have to put it on paper. So when you get statements and stuff like that, you'll see reg this, reg that, and those things. So it is supposed to be fair, yes, but it is fair based on their rules, right? If you come over to my house to play my game, I'm definitely going to tell you the rules. But if I wanted to make sure I just kind of, kept something so I could win, very similar to a casino, then that's what can be done, right? So it is fair based on our rules.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, then what's the? Tell me this. Somebody comes up to you asking your advice. They're on the fence, right? Right. Whether or not they should go to establish a bank and or go to a bank or a credit union or uh, a large bank, a smaller mom and pop bank, or a credit union. What is your advice in any one of those situations?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would ask them if they, one, are just looking to sit their money somewhere, or are they looking to have their money sit somewhere and make money? And secondly, obviously, ROI, return on your investment, or whatever funds you have, whether it's $20 and you're putting it in to make 40, you just want to know what I would need to ask more questions about what they want to do with their money. If they just wanted to sit there, then I think there's smaller ways that or larger ways, even if you had it at a larger bank. But ultimately,
Hmm.
you're going to get lower rates with a larger bank because it's just you're just a number.
Yeah. See, I was just wanting to know about savings. Is is it beneficial for a person to say, "Hey, will my savings accrue more versus the sitting in a bank or sitting in a credit union, or say, should I just go with the Roth?" Um, so when you look over that 20, maybe 20, 30 year time, you know, um, which one will be more beneficial, because there are advantages banking with the credit union, like you stated, then versus
Yeah.
banking with a bank, a federal bank. So one can
Okay.
have that
Can I
question
throw a
and
little bit on
same as
that one?
well. Go
So
ahead.
I say if somebody has the money and the ability to actually have money sitting in a savings account, I would say take that money instead and open up CDs.
See, that's what we're talking. So that's what I would say. I think it's really about the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us don't know about CDs,
Right.
IRAs, tax deferred accounts are so important that
Yeah.
rich people know about, right? To avoid the taxes are really the best way to save your money, right? So that's why people understand having charities, having these things. So then that way I can claim that I only made $70,000 this year, even though I got 60 million, right? I can say technically this is how much I made, right? Whether it be 35,000 to 80,000 or whatever it is to keep myself. And that's why some people have financial individuals, right? To let them know and to say, hey, if you pay attention to the news recently, you saw people giving away tens of millions of dollars recently to charities. People
Yep.
like Michael Jordan, of all people. Why would that be, right? Because it's almost tax season. And
Yep.
at some point, you want to make sure you're lowering yourself, probably, so you don't. Well, first of all, rich only get taxed so much. So let's start
Right.
there.
Right.
But there's also ways where they know that if they're caught with certain, let's say, investment vehicles, that you have to put that money on the books, right?
Right.
You have to say, I have this amount of money to the IRS. But
Mm-hmm.
if I send it over here as a charitable donation, then that means they'll give it back to me as what we call a write-off at some later time. So I
Mm-hmm.
can send over 40, 50 million, right, to look to write it off as a charitable thing and send it over to, and I look good in the press, but ultimately all I'm doing is really helping myself get better tax breaks.
Right. It's all about playing the game.
That's it. You got to know how to move your money and be smart with it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Educational shelters are so important for our kids, right? Because that money goes in tax free as well. Comes straight out of your check. It goes in tax free. You don't have to worry about touching it, and it's going to grow some money with interest.
Mm-hmm.
Life insurance policies, they are cash value cows, right? And that's something that we don't talk about often with our children. Getting a policy, passing that policy down, cash value on that policy, building, even gaining money from that, right? That's interest free.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many things. There's other vehicles that we can be using, that some people just absolutely know. When you have an IRA, when you have a trust fund, a corporation, those things are built differently, taxed differently. So then, when we're really talking about what we want to do with our money, there's so many various vehicles and ways to, like I said, you can have your money over here. I can have my money over here. I can have all these monies separated. And then when it comes time to report, hey, I'm only scraping by getting what I need to get. So that way I'm not taxed in a certain sort of way, right? And then from that point, we rally the troops back. Everybody's living good and we know exactly how to move and situate. Does everybody play Monopoly? Has everybody played Monopoly at some point in time?
Already,
Yeah.
you know.
Monopoly was a super important investment vehicle. It's a true real life thing as far as investing, right? Going around the board is waiting for your paycheck every 2 weeks. If we're
Right.
talking about an analogy, right?
Right.
But who,
Right.
when we're playing in the game, who's really wanting to wait for that $200? You see
Right.
what I'm? Think about us now. You almost sound like a fool when you're that guy at Monopoly. You're waiting for the 200. You're like, look at this fool. You broke. You just trying to get the 200 when you pass
Right.
go, right?
You just trying to get to go.
Meanwhile, I got houses, I got
Yep.
apartments, I got. You see what I'm saying? So understand that mindset. We're playing real life Monopoly, and all of us are running around waiting to pass go. But
Mm-hmm.
some of us are actually growing up teaching their kids, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing, right? Invest, put your money here, do this, move that. So that way you're not waiting to pass go. When you pass go, great, bring it along. right? But I'm
Right.
really getting all of this boardwalk money and all this
Yeah.
Vermont palaces. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think we really got to change our mindset. Every day we wake up really thinking about, hey, even myself, right? We got to pass go.
Right.
So we're getting in, clocking in every single day, doing what we have to do. But ultimately, gentlemen, we are waiting to pass go, and it shouldn't be that way. We should be definitely investing and making that money run around the track while
Mm-hmm.
we're just doing what we do.
Right. It's like it's the financial literacy, the whole concept of how it's being taught and who's teaching us. For instance, Aaron may learn financial literacy a different way from what I learned it because my even me and my pops had a conversation. He had to apologize. He said, what, son, I apologize because I really didn't sit down and really teach you and talk to you about the X's and O's of the dollars and how to make it work and how it works truly. I'm so wrapped up in taking care of you. I'm over TDY. He's in the military. So he was so wrapped up in providing for his family, what I'm
Right.
saying, and doing these things, making these things possible. That's just one thing in life that he was like, I had to apologize. I didn't share that with you. I didn't show you that with you. Is it good for that 16-year-old to get that credit card with a $1,200 limit and he don't even know what the hell FICA mean?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So where we
I
at? We already went around and hit a home run, and I'm like, oh, I'm learning how to play baseball. I don't even know how to play baseball. All I know is they said take a swing, swing. Oh, damn, you didn't got it. I hit the lick. Oh, I'm
That's
supposed to
it.
pay this back in 30 days?
Well,
Well, there's a
run,
minimum
run to
deposit
first,
on
y'all. Don't
finance
run to third.
charges?
Run to first.
Right.
Right. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, hey, when you get this job, first thing we want to do is do this and do that, and which we do, but not having that teaching of savings, the education of savings, the financial literacy, which I think is so important about having these discussions and talking to us everyday folks
Yeah.
about, okay, this is how we doing finances right now. Oh, it might be better if I start moving my money like this, and maybe I might want to put my money over here and make it move like this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I appreciate that time with you coming in. But yeah, it's that right there, man.
No, I
That's a big
appreciate you
thing.
guys allowing me to spew my little spew on your platform, man. This is beautiful.
Hmm.
Ultimately, yeah, I think it's just about getting your return on your investment. What you really want to do with it, right? And so I
Right,
think once you really sit down, have the conversation with you or your family, at that point it's all systems go. But we all want to do different things. Some people don't know about interest, like you said.
Mhm.
Financial literacy is so important. It's just like health.
right,
It's just like anything. If you want to get
right,
involved, you will. You put your ducats towards it. But I think how we grew up is important because I think my parents, who are well to do, so to speak, all they
right,
ever taught me was just to save, right? Just be cheap. Save, don't
right.
spend, you'll be good, you know? And so they're good, but it's not all too well just to do that these days. Plus,
Yeah.
some of us want to branch out and find out what we can do more to make money, right?
Hmm.
The ambition side in you should sometimes want to come out. And if you want to do more, you can, there's plenty more ways to do more.
Amen.
Right, right. For real. I'm curious, Aaron, how was you taught how to save or spend money? How was you taught about financial literacy? Was it your moms who put it on you? Was it pops? What? Who was it?
No, it wasn't my
Big
folks.
bro?
I
Life?
I'm just like everybody else. It was hard knocks. I learned. I saw what my parents were did, and I did the opposite. You
Right,
know,
right,
Right.
unfortunately, I think that was just that generation. They were just trying to make things work for us, and we're the generation that said, "Yeah, I didn't like the way that worked, and so we gotta do better." And
mm-hmm,
which is what every generation does. Like I don't like the way that thing works, so I'm going to do a little bit better, and
mm-hmm.
eventually they do.
Our our parents definitely were the sacrificial generation.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for
If you
sure. It
yeah,
think
was
about
all
we
about
oh
putting food
man,
on the table, man.
whether you
yeah,
black or white, you were definitely sacrificing in ways that you didn't have to now, that we
right,
definitely reap the benefits of just kind of
right,
being able to simply just move money at the touch of our fingers. And
Yeah,
oh, you need $50, or I owe you 50 here, let me see that.
right.
yeah,
And it's just so many different things that they've sacrificed that our generation doesn't necessarily do, right? We're more of
right,
a, it's more for us, I'm doing what
Yeah,
I'm
right,
doing for me sort of generation. as opposed to the way
Mhm.
that our parents set us up to kind of alley-oop it to the next group. So,
Right.
from civil rights to all sorts of things, people were literally sacrificing their own lives and their own
Yep.
personal things just so we can do stuff like this, speak open,
True
freely,
indeed.
white, black, you know what I mean? And we just
Mhm.
don't do enough of that, man, and myself
Sure.
included. I'm sure not gonna leave it out, but
Right.
you know,
Right. True indeed. It's funny how we were taught to save money one way, and now in this digital age, you figure you got all these apps and everything, Cash App, Chime, get your paycheck sooner so it comes faster. But
So
you're
you
trying
can
to
spend it
save.
faster.
Right, you just want to spend it faster, but you're like, yo, I'm only working with $50 a week right now because I'm trying to
Yeah.
pay this or this is my budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting my time to. So, is it really in your benefit to have that money coming faster in a sense? You know what I'm saying?
right,
Or is
right,
it more to learning and having the patience, which is part of financial education,
Yeah.
about the timing of spending money?
Yeah.
When should we be exactly spending money and when should we really be saving money? Because everybody is always looking at the now, the here, but they don't be thinking about tomorrow. Some do. But when we
right.
think about tomorrow, we start thinking about the big picture, about what we're trying to do, what we're trying to work toward, what we're trying to build. But when you see $1,000 and it's like, yo, I got $1,000, dog. Let's go to the mall. I'm about to go get these shoes.
Because of the mentality, man.
You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
I'm about
yeah.
to go get this. I'm about to go
If
get that. You turn
if
around
you
and then you're like, yo, what I wanted to accomplish wasn't accomplished because of my short dream.
Right.
You know what I mean?
if you sat down a 15-year-old and he did not listen to rap, and you asked him, "Hey, if I give you $1,000, what would you do with it?"
Go
I
buy
would
some cowboy boots.
I would almost bet you a
Comic
thousand
Con.
dollars. Yeah, I would almost bet you that whole same thousand that he's
Yeah.
not going to spend it in a way that would be frivolous.
Right. He'll want to
Yeah.
pay a PlayStation,
At some,
something.
well, with all kids, he's gonna want to spend that money,
Right.
Yeah.
but I
Right.
believe because if the music and the things that we put into us as
True. I feel
consumers
you.
is telling us to spend, is telling us to strip clubs,
That's how
Right.
money,
because of the culture.
right?
Yeah.
Get
That's
money out
that
of the
culture.
strip
Yeah.
clubs. Soon as you go get, what are Jordans? That's a week's worth of money, man. Like
Right.
250. I don't spend that on groceries.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You see what
Exactly.
I'm
Right.
saying? So we're talking about true, and we're talking about people who live in a economical category where $200 means so much, right?
Hold up, man. You just put something in so much of a perspective. Now, let's just go back about 28 words to when you said you don't spend that much on groceries. Now is
Groceries.
in inflation time. We just went to the grocery spot. Dog spent $123 and got basic 6 bags.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't spend $123 and come out with so little, but because of inflation, but with that mentality, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna spend a lot of my food, but I'm a damn sure go out here and get these new jeans, or I'm gonna get these new Jordans, or I'm gonna get this new
Balenciaga this
bag.
and this.
I need to get these goggles. I need to get this new piece in the earth. You know what I'm saying? You're
Well, check
like,
check
what's
this
the with
out. So that
the
hundred twenty
education?
three dollars. So that $123 you talked about for groceries at
Hmm.
$20 an hour, that's 6 hours and 15 minutes worth of work.
Right.
Now, if people would put that in perspective, like I'm buying this $1,000 pair of shoes, that's at
Right.
$20 an hour.
Right.
So thousand
Right.
dollar pair of shoes at $20 an hour, if you
Right.
make that much, is 50 hours of
Yeah,
work.
that's your week's worth and then some.
You're
Right.
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 Now,
Are you willing to give up 50 hours of your life for a pair of shoes?
I'll take
Right.
you even to a more realistic scenario,
Hmm.
right? You want to go out and have drinks, have a good
Right.
time
Right.
because it's been a
Man.
while.
Yeah.
Right.
You
True
know,
indeed.
it's
Right.
like, man, I just want to go kick it and chill. Okay.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Now, you go to a nice little spot, you're going to spend, let's say, $70 on a fare per person, especially if
Yep.
you got somebody with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That $140 right there,
Yeah.
like it has
Yeah.
changed over the years.
Yeah.
That
Right.
140 is now 250.
Right.
Right.
You know, right?
Right.
So now that's simple money going out to spend. And so the funny part is we will easily go out, have drinks, have a good time, and spend that money. Come look at our bank account and be like, oh gosh,
Right.
Uh,
Right.
okay,
And,
well, it was for a good time, right?
and then turn around on Monday morning, here it is, 5:30. You talking about, oh shit, let me go get some gas. Oh wait,
Right.
I ain't got no cash on me. Oh, let me go ahead and check what I got in the oh damn, I done spent that much. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and let me just go pop this little 15 in the tank. Gas is $5.63.
yeah.
I'm talking
What the
craziness.
fuck?
And
You
you
want
got
to
to walk.
get 2 gallons? Fuck
Yeah.
2 gallons of
Walk
gas
up to the
gonna get you,
cashier and say, "I
son.
need 59 cents worth of gas."
Man, and them
When
time,
you
listen,
dog,
you
when
got
you
to make
used to
life
get
decisions at the
six,
pump.
7 gallons of gas, you
Uh,
turn around now in today's world and get $2 or 2 gallons of gas off $10,
uh,
and you like,
uh,
what the fuck wrong with America? What's wrong
right.
with this?
Right.
This ain't
Capitalism
supposed
at
to.
its finest, baby.
That's it.
Everybody wants to eat.
Uh,
Man, you know what I'm
that's
saying? What's up with the specs of OPEC, man? What's going down? What's
Specs of
going
what?
down?
unfortunately, I wish that was capitalism. That's actually government regulation causing that.
No doubt.
I mean, life decisions, kid. When you at the pump, you should
Yep.
Man,
not be having to make some type of life decision, like financial decisions for the week, and be talking
Yeah.
about, damn, it's like this. I got to pop it like this,
It's
bump it. You know what I'm
like,
saying? You start adjusting your budget to your gas that you
yeah.
need to have
like,
in
And
your
and
damn tank.
do you
so
want to
it
know the
costs.
worst part about this?
Uh,
In the grand scheme of things, there is someone who is rich that
yeah.
is
Right.
benefiting from your loss.
Yep.
Oh, and smiling,
Eating good somewhere on a
eating
Yeah.
yacht,
good.
somewhere like, hey,
Right.
rates are up, no
Right.
problem, right?
No
Yeah.
problem.
They're hedging against the rates that go up. When they go up, great. I get paid because I have this over here. When
Yep.
rates go down, no worries. I
Nope.
get paid because I have this over here.
Yeah.
Right. And
Hey.
so that's what certain investment vehicles can do for you, right? Having certain securities, having things in place, playing the markets, having a mixed portfolio to where you're playing some things long, you're playing some things short. So if this
Yep.
falls off, no problem. I got this way down here. It's called hedging, right? So
It's
that's
crazy.
investment stuff. But even still, we gotta, like they say in life, there's certain phrases, hedge against your bets, right?
That's right.
Hmm.
Sometimes we got to know how not to beat ourselves. If you're a
Right.
cigarette smoker, if you're an alcoholic drinker, if you're a whatever your vice is, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get past that, sometimes we have to get past that.
Right.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
What's
and I
True.
think
your
ultimately the goal has to be just that, right? Is the picture bigger than the frame?
yeah?
Right.
Switch out your Cristal for some Cristal Light, and you'll be fine.
Man,
Right.
I'm telling you, you got to do
That
something. You're
like
gonna have to
shit.
make a change somewhere, right?
That's
Because
right.
everything
Somewhere.
went up since the '90s like
Right.
crazy.
Mother say, damn, I ain't getting the 24 pack no more. I'm gonna have to get that 12 shot.
That's it. Like
I'm
you're
gonna have to
gonna
get
have
that
to.
12 shot.
The
I don't know
hardest
You
though.
know?
Actually,
conversation for a financial advisor is just that. When people come to you and they want to save, they want to do things. It's really more house cleaning than anything than finances, right?
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Real
But
talk.
I got a rebut on you, Val. Though every time I
Mm.
go and look at the beer aisle, I see the freaking six packs are like 6, 7, $8. When a 12 pack is $12, I'm going for the $12 12 pack.
Are you
Save
going with
myself
the
some
seven
money.
ounces?
Hey,
Or are you going with the 7 ounces or the 12 ounces? Which one we
12
talking
ounces.
about though? Oh, the
I,
12 ounces? No, what
the
we
12
talk
ounces.
imports or domestic?
I ain't short changing myself, man. I'm getting 12
hey,
ounces.
listen. Every
Imports or
good consumer
domestic though?
knows it's more bang for your buck. I beat you both. I go to Costco. I go to Sam's Club. I get the big boy. Spend
Right.
20. I get
Right.
more for less. You know what I mean? I get
Yo,
more.
yo, I'm gonna have to go peep that. Go give me that Stella. You know what I
Hey,
mean? I'm good with it. Give
I
me a little
run over here.
artois.
I just drank the last one. Otherwise, I go show you. All consumers know more bang. You get more by buying in bulk, people. I don't
Right,
Right.
care
right.
if it's something you're gonna use. Period. I don't care if it's ketchup, toothpaste, whatever it is. Right? Get the most of it that you can get because then you're
Hmm.
gonna buy it. You're gonna get it for much cheaper in the units. Right?
Yeah.
So whether it's diapers, whether it's we buy the biggest bulk of tooth. I'm talking about 272 tubes of toothpaste at one time if I can, because then it's only, as opposed to $3.42 for
Yeah.
one,
Right.
right?
It'd be three of y'all.
It'd be 116 for all the tubes technically together. Now you spent $48 to get all the tubes. You spending $50 on toothpaste.
Where are you gonna spend it anyways? Whether you're buying
Right,
one at a
over.
time or
I'm
you're
saying
buying 24 at a
spend
time.
more than $50 over the 4 years it takes you
Yeah.
to use all this toothpaste.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
said, according to the toothpaste calculation, I'm looking over the 4-year diagram.
So
It looks,
that's
if
what
we
I'm
make
saying.
this investment now, it'll pay off in the long run.
The
It
only
will.
thing we
So
need
It
to
will.
really
you got
be
the
doing
ups
is
with the downs, and you get the long
Right.
run.
hey.
No toothpaste for 5 years. We ain't buying toothpaste for five. That's like Wu-Tang. They gave up 5 years
Listen,
of their life. Look where they at.
That's
we come with the charts and the whole explanation to the wifey. Like, here's what we should be doing.
Here's where we
You know,
at.
all she does is smack it out. Come on, I don't need that. What are you talking about?
My
Yeah, man. I
man,
mean,
my man, my
besides
man.
food, man, I'm gonna wrap it up with that. I think just
Right,
overall, if you can buy it in bulk and it doesn't, it's not gonna go bad, then do that, right? Buy as
right.
much as whatever
True
it is you
indeed.
can, so that way
True
you can
indeed.
continually use it,
Right.
especially like toiletries or whatever. And
Yeah.
then anything outside of that, you want to maximize it by just using it to as efficient as possible.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. Hey man, I just want to know, man, because a lot of people don't know. You was out here in Phoenix, my man, and he's out there in Kansas now. So how much was eggs in Kansas about 2 months ago? They was $10 out here.
Eggs, we don't let me lie, we on the WIC program. See, because let me tell you about using other people's money. That's another show. OPM, okay? Other people's money is so important when it comes to investing, okay? So like a smart investor did, we took the time period that she was not working, we used that for us, and we said, hey, we're no longer receiving the amount in the household that we normally do. And the
Right,
government gives us a subsidy for that to say,
right.
here is some money to go buy some groceries, which we absolutely took advantage of. So I
Amen.
would love to say 2 months
Right.
ago, but we just bought some eggs the other day. I think a little 12 pack. Plus, we like to get the brown ones, so they're somewhat
Oh,
expensive.
right.
Yeah,
Why,
because
why
we're
gotta be the
very
brown
health
one?
conscious over here.
Well, how much do you recall? Not how much you paid for them. How much
Um,
was the ticket price?
I think they were like, babe, how much were the eggs? I think they were like $6 or $7, but I couldn't.
Okay, no
How
doubt,
much
no
was the
doubt.
eggs that we got?
Well, y'all got like Yardbird out there in Kansas,
$7. She said they said
$7.
Seven.
Okay.
Yeah, I
7 for
walked
the
in, man. I walked over to Walmart. I see 9.83. I said, "What?
yeah
Hey, yo, this shit right?
yeah.
$9 for some eggs, yo. You. This ain't the airport. The fuck?
Well, everything is the airport now,
Shit
right?
was,
So
Right?
yeah,
it's the great squeeze, my
crazy.
guy. It's the great squeeze. If you
It's
don't have things in
crazy
place, like you said, you're gonna be making life choices at the pump, at the things,
at the
and
grocery
and
store.
eventually, the fun things that you want to go out and do, you're gonna if you don't think about it, you're still gonna go do them, but you might find yourself in a hole. But eventually, you're gonna have to tame from all things entertainment, unless you're just living well and
Right,
you're like, man, I've been at it, I'm been keep doing it.
right. Yeah, hey, if people want to know, who don't feel it and don't see it, Mike Dicker. No, Mike Dicker. No, I don't see I don't see none of that.
Like
I don't know what people talking about. No, I don't have no problems. No,
Lil Wayne,
life, life is good. Life is good. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my man, I know you got a roll. But yo, on the side note, people don't know both these dudes right here that we got on today. We go back some ways, man. Both these cats was in my wedding. Both of them
Right.
was my best man's right there. Both of them cats. What I'm saying?
Indeed.
Right.
Out there two-stepping and stepping and dancing and
You
repping.
know,
So
listen,
we was doing it.
I
We
remember that.
was
I was trying
doing
to
it.
tell the wifey how we was
We
in
was
such
doing
groove
it.
with the,
We was doing it.
hey,
We was doing
hey,
it. But
hey.
yeah, man, it's always love, man. It's a
Appreciate y'all
pleasure,
having me
dog,
on, man.
coming out and sharing that knowledge. For
Man,
real.
appreciate y'all having me. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. I love it. You know,
Thanks,
Word.
brother.
Aaron, it's definitely been too long, my man. I just love the energy that you always bring, man. I was telling my wife I could tear up right now how good of a guy that you are. Bill, you know
Right.
you
Go
ain't
ahead.
shit, but you're still my man.
You know, hey, your
Uh,
breath stinks. So go ahead, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Can't talk about
as,
my
but as always, man, you know I love you, my guy. It's just been too
All right,
long
my
since we
man.
chopped it up, bro. But
It's
for sure.
true.
y'all
It's
keep doing what
true.
it is, man. You gotta have me on so I can tell a couple jokes too, man. We got
We'll do it.
on a not so serious platform. I was trying to keep my
Ah,
business face, and I used my government name right there. You see
I
that?
saw.
see. I was holding you.
Yep.
I was keeping you what it was, but yo, it's
Good.
all good, man. It's
And
all
I got
good.
some new stuff I'm working on, man. So invite me back next week, man. I want to
All
tell a
right.
joke or two.
You got
Okay.
it.
I'm we had you back in like 4 episodes. We got two more to finances talking about this money, and
That's what
then
I'm
you know
talking
we
about.
gonna
That's what
get
I'm
big
talking
what it
about.
is. Yeah, cause yeah, you a funny motherfucker. We know.
I
Oh, we know.
appreciate it.
They
Well,
don't
we'll
know, but
say
you
it was
we
next
know.
week. We'll say it was next week. That's
It's
what's up.
next week.
All right.
Yeah, we
All
go.
right.
You know how
Appreciate
next
it.
week work. CP
All
talk next
Yeah,
week, dog. I'm gonna
yeah.
see you next week. Like I'm gonna call you right back. I'm gonna call you right back, dog. You
Call.
know what I'm
Yeah, I'm gonna
saying?
call you right now, fool. I'm gonna
Yeah,
call
you
you
know what I'm
right
saying.
now, fool.
Word. I'm holler with you.
Yeah.
Word. I'm
right.
holler with you.
Talk later,
All right,
All
brother.
right,
later, man.
Scooty. Peace, dog. Much
Appreciate
love.
y'all.
Word up. Word up. Word up. Yeah, dog. So
Yep.
as it
Well,
go, that's
I
my
guess
man,
I guess
man.
if we're gonna talk about banking, might as well talk about it with some guy named Ebenezer, right?
You know what I'm saying? Where, because when you get them 3, 4 syllable names, shit's serious. You're like, oh, he
Yeah.
know what he talking about. I don't know no dumb Ebenezer's. Do you? Nope.
No.
Nope, not at all.
Right.
Not at all. My man doing it for sure. For sure, man. So yeah, that's the live part of it, man. We want to definitely, second part of this financial education 4-part series. Like I said, just something I just wanted to get to my people, all my peoples. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got just one people, two
Yeah.
people, all my peoples, all y'all my peoples, everybody
Good
out here is,
information.
you know
It
what
was
I'm
good,
saying?
strong information. Good conversation.
Yeah.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying? The stuff that people try to keep from us and they don't want to give us in the community. Why don't we have financial education courses when we in elementary or leading up to junior high in these type of
Right.
outlets as in
It's
some
needed.
higher Ivy League schools? Why don't we have this information or why
Yeah.
don't we learn how shell companies work, the benefits and the dis and not the benefits of these? And how do we learn how trust work with different things in those avenues? So we're gonna try to bring that to the people. We have two more series. We got the investments, going down and blah 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 and business. Because
Right.
it's always good for our youth to know how to build a business.
Right.
When it starts, like little mama that was sitting down there selling the tea on the block. And
Right.
then all of a sudden the tea you selling on the block is actually in the stores now. When
Hmm.
you learning to build a business, when you richer than 45-year-olds and you only 12 years old, Lord have mercy. You got a jewel, you got the keys that you need to share with the people your same age like you. So collectively, what I'm saying? We can
Right.
start growing up and changing who we are and our status of what we're doing as a culture. You know what I'm
100.
saying? Because when we sitting on the bottoms, nobody likes to be on the bottoms. Fuck looking up all the damn time. Get a crook in your neck and keep looking up all the
And that's
damn
how we
time.
change the cycle, bro. You know what I'm saying? Change that repetitive
So
notion of I gotta rob this homie now because he done pulled up in a flashy car. When last week
right,
he was in the hoop. We gotta
right.
change the narrative.
If we share what we know
Yeah.
collectively and we all had generational wealth,
Nobody have to
then
struggle.
we wouldn't be robbing each other.
There
We
you
would
go.
be like Dubai. You know what I'm saying? Everybody happy. Everybody living good. Everybody living fat. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't got that. So we just gonna have to do it the hard way. That's reality. That's what it is. Fuck it. That's what we doing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Sure.
So we're just gonna do it this way. But it's about that. And I just appreciate everything, the little 10, 15 minutes, somebody can give it their time and that's the beauty of it.
Oh
Most
Amen.
definitely.
All right.
Word up. So
Well, I
as we
guess just
rolling,
really quick, if to close out the show, we got about 5 minutes left over. So,
yeah.
Val, you want to do a I hate?
Man, I just have to say here, as I was thinking about the I hate and I really hate here. Your boy worked here 2 gigs, right? And At one of my gigs, I be there a lot, and sometimes I be there for a long time, and it's real early in the morning, and I ain't really got to do nothing, but I'm there, like I'm on standby, like I'm just sitting there, and it's been cold, man. When it's like 32 degrees, it's cold as hell in the damn morning, and you sitting there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you just like, why the fuck am I out here? I really hate this shit because nothing's coming for an hour and a half to 2 hours, but yet you only get so much amount of sleep. And everybody know when you got an extra hour of sleep you could have, you pissed off because you like, dog, I could have slept a whole extra hour. We not cool right now, homie. I don't like you. So, that's how it is with the job. You like, yo, I don't like you right now, man. I don't like you right now, Mr. Job. And I really hate the fact that you got me up here. I'm missing out all this damn sleep, and this damn plane ain't even come because it's 2 hours damn late. Why the hell we out here for no damn reason? I don't care how much you paying nobody. It don't make no damn sense to be out here this damn early in the morning for just a little bit of 2 hours of work when you could have slept a whole nother damn hour. You know what I'm saying? That shit pisses me off, and I hate that shit. So that's my hate movement of
Right.
it. Sometimes you gotta vent it out, dog. Just gotta vent it out. You just gotta let it go.
That's it.
Gotta let it
That's it.
go. Yeah.
Well,
So there we
so my
go.
hate portion is I still hate mustard and I still hate pickles.
Hey, stinky booty is not good neither, man. I hate stinky booty too. Let's put that on the list now. You know, I ain't been around no stinky booty.
Right.
I'm just saying.
I should hope not, sir.
Nah. I ain't been around. I'm just saying. Nah. That's just one of those we don't want. Nah, we don't want to be around. Not at all. But yeah, man, it's one of those things, man. That's one of
Cool.
those things. Cool. Cool.
Well, I just want to throw it out there for those of you who are watching, who want to help support the B&W show. Check out Amazon.com. I wrote a book called The Rhino That Dreams, the cute little kid story. If you have
Right?
kids, you have grandkids, you have nieces, nephews,
Get it?
check it out. The Rhino That Dreams. You'll enjoy it. It's about an actual rhino whom I am good friends with. So check it out. Help support the show.
Right. Right. Yeah. What's the rhino's name?
Butch.
Butch.
Butch is my
Shout
dude.
out to
Here,
Butch.
let me show you a
Butch.
picture. I'll show you a picture, y'all. Y'all want to see Butch?
Let's see
Butch is
Butch.
Butch is my man.
Right. Notice how he can just click it and Butch. There go Butch.
There go Butch,
Yeah,
ladies and
There go
gentlemen.
Butch. Butch is eating, it look like, huh?
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
He
sir.
he actually autographed 10 copies of
Mm-hmm.
a pre-sale of those books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one is going to him. We're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
mounting it in his pin there.
Awesome.
One I'm keeping for myself. The other eight
Mm-hmm.
I'll be auctioning off.
Awesome sauce.
How old is Butch?
I believe he's only like 10 years old.
10?
Whoa.
10?
Yeah,
So let's okay, Mr. Zookeeper. I
Right.
mean, how long do rhinos live?
about 30 years.
Damn. In the wild they live or in captivity
Yeah,
they live about 30 years.
both, both.
So would they be
Yeah,
longer living in captivity?
captivity. No, that's about 30, 35 years. They're the same. I mean,
Right?
rhinos even in the wild don't have that hard of a life because they don't have many predators. So
True.
Lions?
they're yeah. So no, not lions.
Lions
No,
aren't the predators and hippos
Hell
don't
no.
fuck with rhinos?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
So
You know,
what
there's the
mhm.
occasion where they might tussle with each other, but they don't have any natural predators. They're too big and bulky. Maybe the young or the
Mhm.
really old and weak as nature intended, but once they get to a certain age, they'll live their life out. So 30, 35 years is fairly standard, whether in the wild or in captivity.
So then does a rhino's tusk stop growing ever?
No, no.
For
I don't know
real?
if you could. I don't know if you could see that there, but they
He's
actually
yeah.
shave it. They actually shave it and trim it on a regular basis because it's all it is fingernail cuticle. So just like your fingernails, it just keeps growing. So they shave it on a regular basis. If you look at rhinos in the wild, there's some that are shorter because they'll grind it, and there's some who just let it grow and they have big, huge horns. So
Does it itch or something?
no,
You think? Because why would they, be trying to buck it and shave it and nub it down and shit? Then
Some of it's
they can't
territorial, just
see.
kind of show that they're badass, and they just kind of rub their tusks or
Hmm.
uh, any number of reasons.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that okay. I was curious. That just concluded the zoology lesson of the day, ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen. You
Absolutely
Well,
know,
well needed.
if you can't tell, and you're wondering, he's about 5.5 tons.
damn. Yeah, he
He's a big
big.
boy. He's a
Like
big boy.
his snout must be huge, yo.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
snout must be huge. I know the
He's a,
base, like the base of the rhino to the nose to the snout, that must
yeah.
be huge, hella
So
huge, kid.
I can tell you this on this picture. So right about there,
Yeah.
that's about where my hand fits on the
Mm,
width of his nose. It
right.
fits right about these two finger lengths is about the
Right.
size of where my
Damn.
hand fits on his face.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But nature has some big beasts. They got some
Yes.
big
Yeah.
beasts. For real. And you really the beauty of nature. Uh, the beauty of nature when you go to the aquarium. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You you go to the game or something else. You know what I'm saying? So you know, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, dog. For real. For real. So yeah, ladies and gents, it's about that time.
Yep.
We conclude one of the best shows in the world again.
Yeah. Greatest
Again.
show
So, you
ever.
know, as we like to say, thanks everybody for our 10 minutes of your time for sure. And we will be looking forward to speaking with you another 2 weeks and having some more little laughters for you, a little couple jokes, little side jokes, and all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. So thank you all for tuning in. Uh, Again, check us out again in 2 weeks. Have some more financial topics and really get into it. All right. So with that, we apologize for the inconvenience.
Huh. Peace, peoples.